Hello,
welcome.
Hey, everybody. We have
There's
to
audio.
unmute. Why does it say hide? What? Oh, okay. I am just about ready to throw melon across the room. I'm live. Hey, everybody. You can't see us, but we're here. Hey, Casey,
We're here.
we lost. Oh, and now there's a countdown. What was that?
Wait, are you doing it
So-
twice? We're live right now.
We're live
Yeah.
right now.
We're live, but now I have this. Is there any way to kill this countdown screen?
We don't have a countdown screen on our side.
Count up
I
screen.
don't see a countdown screen.
I do.
It's a count.
So,
I wonder if
Oh,
people
yeah,
are
yeah.
seeing
how
us
long's
on
it got to count down?
30 seconds?
It stopped at 19.
Oh, wow.
Oh, because we can see your video. Everything's working fine from our
Okay,
end.
well then. Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 453 for Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host in this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. Let's introduce everybody and get this show on the road. My friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, he currently has his beautiful daughter strapped to his chest, Mr. Casey Green.
Yeah, giving her a back rub so she'll go to sleep.
Oh.
What does Sam Jackson say? Go to sleep.
I would hire Sam Jackson to be my babysitter.
Right?
Absolutely, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I said that in front of the baby. I'm sorry.
Yeah, baby doesn't
Can't
have
hear the
headphones
kids.
on, so
Well,
You're
you all
good.
look great. Guessing there are the chat. I guess we're there. Hey, everybody in the chat. Well, let's introduce everybody else. My friend in Canada, he is the founder of the Waterloo Regional Electric Vehicle Association and the founder and host of the Tesla Life, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's get going.
Absolutely. And let's see. Next up, my friend in Boulder, Colorado. He is the founder and owner of Boulder Hybrids, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, I'm at a new location today, or an old location.
You're back at your shop, right?
I'm at the repair shop, not at the car lot.
There we go. Not the car lot. No sunny skies behind you. Just repaired
Just
electric
awful
vehicles and
looking
hybrids.
Drop ceiling in a restroom.
Yeah.
multi-gender though, so you're good.
Wow. Well,
Gender neutral.
hey, look at that. Now I have video. The 30-second countdown just ended 3 minutes and 27 seconds into the show.
I'm
Thank
sure
you,
the problem
Melanap.
is your computer.
Yeah, I think
I
the
don't
computer might
know.
need a reboot because it did this last week too.
Casey
could
never
be.
seems to have these problems. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm also on a Mac. Also on a Silicon Mac.
Casey is more competent technically than I am. I will happily admit that. Last and certainly not least, he is my friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, everybody out there in alternative vehicle world. Let's get rocking.
Let's get rocking indeed. I tried to troll Patrick this week with some fake titles for my opening rant, and sadly, Patrick didn't rise to the bait.
Oh, I
Perhaps-
assumed they were real. That was your agenda.
That was, yeah, and it was certainly believable that Patrick was like, yeah, I could see Russell going into this rant, but that's not the rant I don't want to go to. I've actually had a rant for a few weeks that's been building up, and the news events have kind of overtaken it a little bit, and so I can't be quite as irreverent and funny because there's a whole bunch of dead kids in Texas, and that's super not cool. But the rant is, I feel horrible for the people, my friends, in some cases people I don't know, that are working for companies that have moved their offices to Texas.
Yeah.
Let's name names: Toyota and Tesla.
Mhm.
It's not the place that I think they probably thought it was going to be when they went there.
Yeah. Like, look at what they had to do at Tesla for their employees to feel comfortable. They had to have coverage for medical procedures out of the state, both abortion and other things that you're not allowed to do there. They had to have fertility treatments. They had to have adoption, and that sounds really expensive. I'm not saying this is the wrong thing to do. It's definitely the right thing to do, but and then on top of all of that, they called a special session of their legislature to make guns easier to get, rather than to make it so you could sell the product that you just recruited this large ass factory to build product, and now you can't sell the product still.
I can see employers doing exactly what Tesla did in paying for out-of-state medical procedures, but the way the Texas law is written is if you facilitate someone going out of state for an abortion, you can still be sued for that.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yes.
times. So this is that state is pretty messed up.
Let's look at the LGBTQ plus laws that have gone into place. All of the people that aren't straight cishet employees are living in a state that is actively and aggressively hostile to them. Women actively and aggressively hostile to them. And this doesn't just affect abortion procedures. There's already been a lot of discussions that this could potentially affect women's health at a whole range of levels.
Yeah.
I'm
that
sorry,
was
Casey.
that was the other thing. Not just abortions out of state, but also trans procedures out of state, because that's also illegal there now. And
yeah.
so like you said, they expose themselves to a lot of liability. I'm curious how this
but
plays
wait,
out.
it's the land of the free, right? No.
So small government, big business, freedom, blah blah blah. Yeah,
You define free as getting to buy as many guns as you want.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's your definition.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to focus mainly on Toyota, but Tesla is absolutely legit as well. The Toyota thing again, and I've said this, is that California gave Toyota its foothold in America. It helped build that company into the largest auto company, or one of them on the planet. And then when they got a good offer, they jumped. Absolutely zero loyalty to the state that helped them build their business. They just went, hey, screw it. We're getting a great deal from Governor Abbott, and they left.
Yep. So if you're California, don't give any more sweet deals to car companies that start with T.
I just, sometimes it's about more than a couple
and
of bucks.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jim Lenz cashed out really well at Toyota. And, anyway, my heart goes out to them, all of those people, Tesla, Toyota, whoever, everybody in the state of Texas, but except unless you vote Republican, then my heart doesn't really go out to you in Texas. But yeah,
it takes a lot of looking past some stuff to be able to still vote Republican in today's world. A lot of folks I grew up around that were Republican for, the reasons that they say that they want to be, they couldn't handle the association with the last couple of years, and especially running up into today. So they declared themselves independent.
I
think more people should be independent, because once you identify with a party, if there's any attack on that party, just the way your brain works, it feels like an attack on you. Yeah. Instead, if you are independent and you think for yourself and you don't identify with the party, if there's an idea, you can discuss that idea rationally. And either say, well, that's good or bad, and not say, well, what does my party think? And I want to be in the in-group, so I'm just going to feel the way I think they would feel without engaging your brain. Everybody needs to just be an independent and engage your brain, people.
Yeah. I used to call myself a centrist because I was like slightly left of center, and then all of a sudden I found that term was co-opted, so I can't call myself that because it means something different now.
Yeah. And we could easily spend several hours discussing the politics of this, and in a way, part of me wouldn't mind. But I'm going to leave it with that. And let's move on to our normal, shall we say, stories. Let's go to Casey.
Let's go bash on Toyota some more. So the BZ4X and the Subaru Solterra, and then the Lexus, whatever that thing is going to be. There was a little bit of controversy last week where Toyota released the manuals, and it appeared that the car couldn't charge below freezing. And there was controversy with, was that if the battery is below freezing or if the air is below freezing? And Toyota tried to clarify, and they just made it worse. So they spoke to a Canadian news place that we like to follow called Tesla Canada, and they answered. They said to be more specific, the BZ4X may slow down in temperatures below freezing and may not work at all in temperatures below negative 15 C or negative 4 Fahrenheit. Is that the battery or the air? Because either way, that's still bad.
That's bad either way.
The slowing down kind of suggests it's the battery, as we were hoping it was, but Japan doesn't. Japan is a little bit more warm than Canada and Alaska.
Not all of it, but yeah.
Not all of it, but like where the people are.
Cold.
Yeah, and so I would
There's
hope.
going to be some disappointed car owners if they go out and it's minus 15 and the car won't go.
Right, and so the example I used was in the Model S and my Model X. There's a section in the manual that says you can't leave the car out in temperatures below -40 for more than 24 hours at a time. And so if you do, well, it hasn't happened yet, but it could with the climate change. But it hasn't happened yet. If you do, they're not going to help you with getting the car restarted, and there may be some damage. And so that's why I was hoping that Toyota was doing the same thing. They were looking at the heat soak, but there was no time limit. There was no clarification, and so we do know that at least if it is slightly below freezing, you'll still be able to charge the car. But once it gets to -4 or -15, we don't know if you'll be able to charge the car, or if it'll. What we're hoping is it will heat the battery up and then charge, but they're not saying that.
So more clarification is going to be required.
Yeah.
What's odd to me about this is that this isn't a problem in RAV4 Prime. This isn't a problem in Prius.
Taking a family vacation.
Right.
What was that?
Somebody's on vacation.
I clicked.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I thought it was like, is my computer really malfunctioning that badly tonight?
It's melon. Blame on melon.
So
No,
I
don't
don't.
blame it.
Is this a communication problem or is this an engineering problem? I don't know. When it comes to electric cars, Toyota cannot seem to keep its foot out of its mouth.
I just can't see how they could engineer a car that doesn't work a little bit below freezing, because like Norway, Canada, these are all big markets for EVs.
Right.
So there's some disconnect somewhere between marketing and engineering.
Yeah.
Or it's a massive communication error, like completely. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that Toyota would put a car out there that would have trouble in minus 15 degrees Celsius weather. That just doesn't make any sense in North America.
Off of Europe as well.
It doesn't make any sense. And Toyota's lack of clear communication on this, like whenever they get into this EV zone, it seems like suddenly they lose the power of articulate speech. And it's been this way forever. So,
well, it seems like generally the company doesn't believe in the technology, as we've seen from their many press releases. And so they don't have their A team on it, is going to be my guess. And when, I don't think they're well funded or staffed to be doing it yet.
Didn't you hear we have a self-charging electric car in Europe?
Yeah, self-charging hybrids. No such thing.
Right.
Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny drive those, because that's where.
I can't argue with that, nor will I. Well, let's go to Mark for our next story about flying high, but not the way you might think.
Hey, man.
Who's at the door? It is a new electric airplane. This apparently is the first in the world commercial all-electric airplane. We've talked about some other electric airplanes on the show before. We've got some seaplanes that have been developed from standard airplane bodies and placed batteries in them and motors. But this particular plane from, I'm going to pronounce the name, I know completely wrong, but it's Pipistrel, I believe. And they're a Slovakian company. They've been developing planes for 35 years. And they have recently installed a number of new planes that will be completely electric driven. They're two-seaters. And get this, Patrick, they're basically running on a Nissan Leaf. Battery pack. So 24 kilowatt hours.
Crazy.
Two-seater. Gets about 70 to 80 miles of range, depending on winds.
Which is the same as the car.
Same as the car. And they started to sell these vehicles to flight schools. So these, schools that are training new pilots, they're fairly light. They charge with a typically just like a car. So they're using a CCS plug.
No, it was Chatamo, and at least
I'm sorry.
Which made it even more like the Nissan Leaf.
Right. Another reason they probably bought the whole kit and caboodle from Nissan. So they're and it takes about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 to charge up to 80%. And there's a video that just came out today or yesterday from Fully Charged. So Robert Llewellyn has put this video together where he went up, and let me tell you, you'll have to watch this video. The link is in the notes.
It will be.
But the video was kind of funny because Robert wasn't all too confident about flying in this all-electric airplane because they went up on an extremely windy day. Mm-hmm. And of course, with winds and a light aircraft, there was a lot of bumping around. But he was basically clutching his seatbelt as they were going along. So it's kind of funny to watch. But it's interesting that this now vehicle, it's on par with the regular engine vehicle. It's actually the same price. 202,000 euros. So whether you buy the gasoline version or the electric version, same price. And this particular flight school that Robert visited, they had a great conversation about how it works for them, what they're using it for, and how they charge it. They show the plug is right up where the prop is. And one of the really unusual things is that when the vehicle goes out to, say, taxi to the runway before takeoff, you know how sometimes they have to get clearance from the tower, so they sit there for a little while? Well, as soon as they're sitting there and not doing anything, immediately the propeller stops spinning because it's saving power. And there's no point in having it run if the vehicle's not doing anything. So there are different points when you reduce the throttle, the propeller will actually stop spinning. And then, of course, when you apply the power, the propeller starts up again and does its job. So it's conserving energy when it needs to, and very cool.
So Mark, did it say if you're descending, does it regen?
That would be cool.
Well, it's kind of interesting, Paul, because when they're showing the video and they are going down, I perceived that the propeller was slowing down. Right. So I'm not sure if it was or not because they didn't exactly address that in the video. But maybe there is a regen possibility because, of course,
do that in a gas plane.
Right. And so it was fun to watch. Wow. I suggest everyone go take a look at it. The other interesting thing is that the same company, they're now about to certify the next generation of plane, and this will be a 4-seater and will travel about 200 miles of range. So they're upping the size of the battery and the plane itself to be more of a commuter airplane. So hopefully they will be able to succeed with that certification.
Mark, these are European certified, right? They're not FAA.
These are European certified, correct? Yeah. The story was happened in Europe. So don't know anything about it being legal in North America, but certainly if one group gets successful at this and it makes business sense, I'm sure it could certainly cross into our neck of the woods and be useful here as well. But a great story about the great blue yonder and going electric.
Yeah. 2 years ago, for about a year, I lived, as the crow flies, about half a mile from the landing end at a small regional airport. And one of the things I learned in that time is even small passenger planes are damn loud.
Yes.
They don't put a lot of sound suppression on the mufflers and whatnot. I mean, and I get why, because they're up in the air most of the time. But wow, is this going to improve life for people around airports and in the flight path? Because these things aren't going to come in going,
on top of that, you got the leaded gasoline, leaded ab fuel.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, even though that's one of the things that you cannot buy leaded gasoline for your car but leaded gasoline is still being made, and it's for planes, and that's just ridiculous.
As we saw, not just on the human aspect, we saw how much damage it does to humans. We also saw how much and that's what actually got them to do it. We saw how much it costs society that we outlawed the leaded gasoline because
Right.
of the cost
Yeah, it
of
lowers
society,
IQs and
monetary.
makes people pass stupid laws. Oh wait, no, just tying back to the.
We're back to that, aren't we?
So the new one could actually also be a Leaf because remember the second gen Leaf has the 200-mile range and still runs on Chatham. I was joking that it's a Bolt or the Ampera E, but yeah.
It's Bruce points out in the chat that Bob Llewellyn said that they talked about climbing the first half of the flight, but needing no power to come down for the second half. So that sort of implies they're either gliding or they're regenning or something. So
right. I would go with a glide. I mean, because you're going to go and plug it in anyway, unless you're saving electricity.
Yeah, takeoff probably uses quite a bit of energy, but then once you're up and just cruising, it's going to be a lot less, and then landing, maybe zero.
It depends on, I guess.
Something you don't need to do a rerun.
You do, yeah. You need to maintain speed and keep your nose up and do some other stuff, but it's going to be a lot less than climbing for sure.
Yeah,
it's very cool that we've adapted this technology to that, and that it seems to offer a lot of improvements.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Well, speaking of adapting technology but not improving it, Patrick has a story about people that should probably be burned at the stake. Oh, did I go too far there? Maybe not.
I'm not sure we're reading the same story, but I'll just go with the one I've got here. So this is coming to us from CNBC, and the lawyer just gave us some coverage there. Yeah,
same story.
So it's titled "Burning Gas to Produce Electricity is Stupid." The CEO of power giant NL says. So this, yeah. Was that Ampera? Okay, so the CEO of an Italian power firm is now casting doubt on the benefits of using gas to produce electricity. He told CNBC that it's stupid and that there are cheaper and better alternatives available now. I'm just going to read a few excerpts from his talk here. He said, gas is a precious molecule and we should leave it for applications where it's needed. Oh. Gas is needed for things like chemical applications, paper, ceramic, and glass manufacturing and industry. And so it should be spared for those. Stop using it for heating. Stop using gas for electricity generation when there are better alternatives. And then at the end, he said, alternative methods for electricity generation include wind and solar, quite obviously. So I thought that was cool because there are some things that can move off of fossil fuels more readily and others that are going to take a lot longer to transition. And if we just mine and burn as fast as we can, then we're going to have a massive collapse for those things that can't transition quickly. And so using this in the sparing way and transitioning what we can now, I think is the right way to handle it. And you start with what's the phrase, the low-hanging fruit, and then later you get the ladder and try to get the stuff at the top. But we're not even getting the low-hanging fruit. We're just ignoring it and letting it rot on the vine. And so it's time to stop doing that. There you go. No arguments.
Not for me.
You didn't expect an argument on this panel, did you?
No. There just aren't other. The guy in this position, so many other utilities. We've talked about the crap in Texas before and how they were having blackouts in the winter and blackouts in the summer, all because they've maximized for profit, not for reliability.
Right.
They're not going to say something like this.
We also saw all of the island nations that were taking out their diesel and gas generators and replacing them with solar, wind, and power packs. Right. I guess they're mega packs now, but you know what I mean. At the time, they were power packs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least while they're above water.
What were you saying?
Well, that's the other thing is look at all the ones that are going underwater. I mean, Miami's under threat, and then a good portion of Was it Maldives? Is gone.
Oh, I was crying for Miami.
Oh,
Maldives, on the
yeah.
other hand, we should
You
say.
lived in Florida long enough that you can do that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Miami. I'm sorry, viewers in Miami. I love you. Don't like Miami. Don't like Florida. Oh, wait, who cares? Let's see what we got.
It's like Florida and Texas have just tuned off.
Yeah, and you know what? Fine.
Oh.
I've had this conversation too many times in the last.
I hope
few
there's
days.
people from Florida and Texas watching and going, yeah.
Yeah, they're good. And to those of you that are there in Texas going, oh, we feel for you. Believe me, I do. I won't even speak for anybody else. I do. It's just, wow, your governments are repugnant and they're leading the way and doing not good things for you and for the rest of us. Wow, we've gotten is this show political this week? Is that what
Apparently.
it should
Not necessarily more than usual, is it?
I don't know. I'm trying not to be, but I keep heading off in that direction. Casey saved me. He's got a story about the F-150, and I had to actually click on the link to read it to figure out what the headline meant.
I was confused that this happened, though, because the Ford Mach-E has what we folks with Model 3 and Model Y know of as your phone is a key. And the F-150 Lightning was sold as having the same feature as the other two vehicles and the Mach-E. However, if you're one of the first group of people to pick up your Ford Lightning, you will have to use a key fob, key card, or the app, but not as a Bluetooth. You'll have to do it like the old school with my Volt. You push it and you wait for the signal to get out and come back. And but in late summer, they will give you an OTA update that you can download phone as a key on your Ford Lightning.
Hey, an OTA update? That's the most exciting part of this story. Someone else is finally going to have 2012 technology. Yes!
Well, you have to be careful with that because the last over-the-air update that Ford did to the Mach-E on some of the older ones, they put in the wrong specifications, and so the car will suddenly stop or go. The opposite of what you're trying to do, because it thinks that the rear motor is doing something different than it should be doing because the parameter was set so as if the rear motor was inactive, and so the car thinks you're trying to do a panic stop and it tries to help you, or it thinks you're trying to go and it's stuck and it tries to help you, and then it's not doing what you told it to do, and that's dangerous. So there's a recall for that. But because it's a repair now, you have to go to the dealer to get it done, even though it came over the air.
So they sent you an over-the-air update to fix something and ended up bringing the car that had to go back to the dealer.
Not to fix, they added a feature. But then to fix the bug, they had to go to.
They had to bring it back to the dealership.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hey, new technology has bugs, so
2012, new baby.
I wonder if anybody was there any crashes because of this?
I didn't see any on the government report.
That's good.
Yeah. At least not like that. There was the Mercedes large SUV. They put I've seen stop sales when I was selling cars, but this one said don't drive. It's to the point where Mercedes will send a tow truck out to come get your not G-Wagon, but your large SUV. Take it to the dealer, see if it needs repairs, and if it does repair it, then you got to come get it. But they'll tow it because it's a don't drive order. I've never seen a recall like that before. I'm sure they exist, but it's the first one I've seen and noticed.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, OTAs are a double-edged sword.
They are.
As long as they're giving you good software.
Yes.
As long as they're not taking away features you paid for. They're wonderful.
Yeah. But then there's also with a company like Ford or any of these other larger companies, it's probably fine. But like some of the smaller companies coming up, like Faraday or whoever, if they promise you a feature that's not on your car and somehow you get the car, and they promise you like in a year you're gonna get an update, I would pretend that the car only has what's on it. Like we see this all the time with phones and laptops. Like, oh yeah, it's gonna be able to do this cool thing, and then it never does. Or if it does, like before the warranty runs out.
Casey, you really went there?
Oh, I did.
On purpose?
What's the car?
Tell me that was an accident.
No, it wasn't an accident.
The one that,
but you notice I skipped one because I'm driving it. It's just super late.
What's the? Is it Miles? Was that the car that you had to try to figure out how to unlock?
Oh yeah.
Is that a Miles electric?
That sounds something familiar.
I don't even Miles Electric.
No, there was some
You
EV.
stumped
They
me.
had gone out of business. You said you had to repair one, and there was a problem with the ignition key, or
Coda?
Oh, Coda, yeah.
oh, sorry, yes, Coda, yes.
Coda.
Yeah, it was the same company that did that. Miles did small cars, and then Coda was their big car, so that's why I had Miles in my head. Yeah, Coda.
They were hugely successful. I think they sold 122 cars before they went bankrupt.
Right. I think the rest of the 1,000 were sold like at liquidation.
So better than Faraday.
That's
you're
100.
telling us.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say I think that's 122 more than Faraday sold. So,
But I was trying to go to one where I wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings and say, if they ever delivered a car and they promised you something was coming next year on your car at no extra charge, then I wouldn't hold my breath. Same thing with the laptops and the video games and that sort of thing. If they say it's coming, it's not in the box, pretend it doesn't exist.
we have the time to have this conversation, and that conversation is anytime you're buying something that's promised but not there, maybe be skeptical about it. There's more than enough examples of people that have paid for things.
Or hold back your payment.
If you can.
Yeah, and then get your car repoed, right? I mean,
Right.
the problem is they
don't
shut
get
it down
repoed, they
remotely.
just ping it
Right,
and
that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like I was saying
Bring
on
your
this
car.
one, I would feel a little more confident that Ford's going to follow through. One, because Ford is so large, and they are a large target for class action if they don't come through on this. And two, they've got it on the Mustang Mach-E, so it's obviously a case of either they don't have the programming chops, or they have a different supplier for the sensors on the truck than the car. I would still not count on this ever showing up, but I would be more comfortable feeling that it might show up if I was buying the Lightning.
I don't know. George has already accused me of being a person of faith today, which I just about peed myself laughing.
She did?
But she did. Yeah, she said that exact words. Yeah, I really am not that worried about Ford not enabling their phone opening app to work at some point in the near future. And why didn't they roll it out? Who knows? But I'm not that. Now, we start talking about the Faraday futures and, the like.
Yeah, my guess is they found a last minute bug and they said, oh, wow, we can't roll it out with that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we can't not roll it out. So we'll turn it off and fix it and give you an update later. That's great.
Yeah. Especially if they're actually shipping cars,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to some of these other companies.
And it's not like that was a feature that someone had to pay for that doesn't have it. Okay. It's part of the package that you get. It's not an option.
Or it prevents you from using the car.
Right.
It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we'll ship that out later, and you can't use it until we ship it out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If that was the
driveway,
only way to unlock or start the car, that would be a problem. But it's not. It's a
car with no
convenience
steering wheel.
feature.
Oh, here's your car with no steering wheel. Oh, by the way, the software to actually drive itself is missing.
Yeah. Imagine if they didn't have OTA. So now, when this does come out a few months from now, everybody who's bought one would have to take it to the dealership, and that's just no fun. Nobody enjoys that experience of going in for service. And you do that if you have to.
Right, and Ford and Microsoft didn't do the best job with the USB updates for the consumers.
And pretty much every other car is still take it to the dealer or a independent shop with the right software to do the updates, and it's a big pain in the butt for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But while you're there, you can tell them that the struts are out or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, even us, we do software updates for some of the manufacturers, and sometimes it's months, but before I need to do a Nissan or a Chrysler or whatever.
You got to update your laptop to update the
car.
car.
My laptop to do the update. It takes half an hour to update the laptop to update the car because I haven't used it regularly, and it's just a pain,
Yeah.
Mine was like when I was at the dealerships. Mine was always that one-off one. Like I would get the Japanese one, and everybody would have the American one, and so they'd have to re-download the package just for me to do my update for the car.
I had to do that with the Leaf, and when I got there, that's when they were like, "Oh, he's here. Okay, let's start downloading the stuff to the laptop," and that took them an hour. And I'm like, "Yo, you could have done that. You don't even need my car for that step. Why?
But the software actually asked the car, "Hey, which one are you, and what do you have deployed?" So now I can download. So like it saved everybody some time. Like he could have said download on his lunch break, but because of the way they've structured their program, it doesn't.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Well, for our final story tonight, I'm going to take Casey's suggestion to heart. and introduce it with, as we've mentioned in the show, I often append titles to news stories that aren't necessarily for publication. We're going to bend that and go, Casey's next story, here was the headline that I put in the email. Bentley, hell-bent on showing their penis is larger than Elon's, makes something no one really wants to drive. Casey?
Yes. So Bentley has finally come up off the "we're not making EVs" thing, and they decided they're going to make an EV, and they did this months ago. But now we have some details and some pictures of the thing, the car, not the unintended appendages. So it's going to have 1,400 horsepower, and it'll be 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds. The 1.5 second will be available standard, but they called it optional because it's too damn fast and people get scared and lose their lunch. So out of the box, before you flip the setting in the settings menu, it will do 0 to 60 in just 2.7 seconds, which is still just fucking fast, but not enough to just push your brain back in your head on the first tap.
This is just about actually.
Right.
This is Bentley. So
Yes.
This is not like Lamborghini.
It's going to be like an 8,000 pound car. Boom.
So they make luxury cars, right?
Yes.
Not sports cars. So
And that was something that Bentley brought up, is like, we don't want to get into this EV drag race hamster wheel. I think what they're saying is they don't want to put the R&D into constantly doing that, but also that their customers probably aren't really interested in it. So they wanted to bring out their first entry to be strong, but they still want to focus more on smoothness and luxury and blah blah blah. But they didn't want to come out and then be the slowest EV. But, you can't come out and be slower than the ID4 because that would not be good.
Okay.
I don't
Go
like the
ahead.
front end. I don't like the front end of this thing, but the rest of the car.
It's fugly.
I mean, what's the market for that kind of car? Like,
Yeah.
People who buy Bentleys. They did just cancel 2 cars so they could make room for this in their marketplace. But the other reason for canceling the 2 cars is by the time they deliver, it will be illegal in their markets because of emission standards.
So people with Bentleys often have drivers,
Yes.
and so I don't know. This seems like
Johnny Ive.
they don't want to be thrown around in the back seat. But just I don't get it. It just seems out of character for Bentley.
It's more of as a tech demo, like to show that we can do this, but you're probably never going to step in it that hard. Or if you need to outrun the paparazzi, they would have to have a plaid to get you.
Okay.
I've got this picture of the front end so you can see what I'm talking about with it being fugly. I mean, some people might like it, but I don't understand it.
It's a huge grill, right?
It's a huge grill. Looks like diamonds. It's kind of knurled.
You sharing it?
I did. Gotta have the host push the share button.
I don't know. It's so I follow Jason Torshinsky
Did you push the
on
button?
Twitter, and he was talking about another Bentley. Number one, and about this EV Bentley, a lot of the discussion around it is how many G's can Bentley owners take, and will it make them vomit?
It will make them vomit, and who knows how many G's they can take because they are on the older, less fit side on average. The same problem that
I think they're going after a new demographic.
that might be the other part. They might be trying to do the same thing as Mercury, Lincoln, and Cadillac come down market and Harley try to get it before all the customers
Harley.
die.
What, to grab the last 3 Harley customers that are under 70? Come on.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a big change in the industry, and if they can use that change to pull in a younger demographic, maybe that's not a bad idea.
Need to.
Yeah,
I don't know. But the other thing he was making fun of was apparently they're talking about their well-being quilted seats and how they make your life better. And it's like, are you really fucking kidding me with the well-being seats? Quilted upholstery is somehow some new innovation? Like, how long have we had quilted upholstery?
Since cars
been
were
around.
Right.
I'm sure that Bentleys have nice, comfy seats, though.
Oh,
they're not skimping there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't accuse them of cheaping out on anything, but is it really going to enhance your life? I get what they're selling. They're selling the intangibles. They're selling the people who want to think that every time they sit in the seats, they get a year younger.
Cocoon seats, yes.
Exactly.
And for those of you who aren't aware, Bentley is part of the Volkswagen Group.
They are.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much of this guts it shares with Porsche.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe some of the Porsche EV stuff is going to share pieces with this.
I don't know.
Well, then would the Porsche be faster because it would have a lot less of that Bentley baggage?
I
Less,
can't.
less cushion in the seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait until we get past the part of the adoption curve when I can start ignoring this crap again. Because for decades, I paid no attention to Lamborghini and Maserati and Bentley and Bugatti and all of this other stuff. And it's fun once in a while to piddle around with, but really, like, I'm just, for how many $1 million, a car should be magic. It should fly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't wait until we get back to just kind of regular electrical cars that go places, not in a second and a half.
Well, that was what Toyota and Volkswagen tried to approach. Volkswagen seems to have backed off on that now because they're going for profit over quantity. But they're like, hey, why don't we take advantage of this and make it cheaper, make it the same as what you're used to, but clean. And I liked that mindset. I mean, they don't all need to be sports cars. They don't all need to be sporty cars. You need the whole spectrum. And,
yes.
And it seems that I understand, like, if it's your first one, you want to make your first one your Halo car, but like at some point you need the regular cars too, because getting those seconds off still costs money even on electric cars. It just doesn't cost as bad as a fossil car.
But yeah, I mean, before EVs, if you had a car that had a 0 to 60 in the threes, it was probably $800,000 plus car, and now
I've got an SUV that can do that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and there's a faster one than mine.
I'm worried that a whole lot of people who we as long as humans are driving, they're getting in crashes, and now you give them something that can accelerate twice as fast as what things that are already causing crashes. I'm worried for our roads.
We shared a Model Y taxi that clipped a UPS truck in New York at the end of the other show, and it was doing 70 in downtown New York, and the results were, as you can expect, messy. Yeah,
this whole can we just insert my last Stellantis rant about how they don't make anything worth buying that doesn't go fast in a straight line? That's all they're selling is exhaust fumes and wide tires.
Yes.
I spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week driving on the roads of North San Diego County, and there isn't hardly a day go by that I don't see somebody in a Charger or a Challenger or some other stupid car that goes way faster than it should, has no turning ability, and is usually sold to people either trying to reclaim their youth or someone spending mom and dad's money trying to reclaim mom and dad's youth. I'm not saying everybody who owns those cars are bad, but I mean, do we need a 700 horsepower SUV with a Dodge Hemi in it?
You know what that reminded me of? Do we need our semi-trucks to go 0 to 60 in 6 seconds fully loaded up a hill?
No, we don't.
They might bust out the back doors.
But it's this sort of like penis measuring thing. Like, we can go half a second faster. We can go a quarter of it. It's stupid and it's dangerous and yay, freedom. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm going to get so much shit mail for that. I just have to, That's all I got. Sorry.
But it feels good to be able to just kind of like tell us what you really feel. Like you're not couching anything
I'm holding it back.
on today's show. Yeah.
I'm holding it back. That's all I got this week. Anybody got one last thing?
We had some folks with some questions in the chat.
Did we?
What?
Yeah. Is that grill functional? I have no fucking clue.
I hope not.
Those quilted seats need to be hosed off after a few
I don't
runs.
think grills on artist renditions are ever functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bruce Nelson was telling us that he filed a couple patents on regen for the boats.
Oh,
I was curious if that would be if a similar technique would work on that airplane, because it has a variable pitch well, it could have a variable pitch propeller, and his method requires a variable pitch to either reduce drag on your boat or to use regen, which is pretty cool.
Reverse to lessen drag or even regenerate. We should have Bruce on the show to talk about that. Bruce, that's an offer. We need to get you on. I would love to hear about the EV boat design and how that works.
I don't get how you go downhill in a boat.
Well,
you slow down.
You slow down. Same as your car. Your car doesn't reverse. It just
once you crest the dam, you're going down.
Have you seen A Perfect Storm?
if you're doing 10 knots and you want to do 2 knots, you've got extra energy there. And
current. I don't know. How do you? I mean, I read, but the magical thing about electric motors is they can regen. So wherever that opportunity is, God, a million.
That's true. Actually, I have heard like these giant freighters take like 2 miles to stop because of all the inertia. So maybe then they'd put the regen as they're coming into port.
And do that. We had a young man who designed a thing. I don't think anything ever came of it, but it was a small device with like a prop in a cage. The idea was you stuck it anywhere in like a river or a creek, and it would generate electricity. You put it at the end of your dock, boom, all of a sudden you've got lights on your dock, or you've got power to charge your boat or something. It was a really cool little invention. Again, can't do that with gas. You're not going to recapture gas by doing that, but with electric motors you can, and that's very cool.
Yeah.
I get excited about weird things. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool.
I like the propeller guy. He was a nice kid. Well, that's all I got. Let's do some shout outs and go home, gentlemen. I'm going to start with my friend Paul Guzik.
If you're in Colorado, check us out, boulderhc.com. We fix and repair hybrids and EVs. We sell cars sometimes, but right now don't have a lot for sale, as has been the story. So, but check us out if you're along the Front Range in Colorado, Denver, Boulder area.
There you
or
go.
if you want to take a plane and come pick him up, like
an electric plane.
Russell did.
Yeah, I flew to Boulder or flew to Denver. Paul I took a shuttle bus to Boulder, and Paul picked me up. I'm just a few miles from his shop, drove my Prius home.
Long ass drive to California.
It was 17 hours. Oh my God. What was I thinking? I'm too old. There was a time in my life when I would have enjoyed that challenge of that 17-hour drive. I kind of suffered the last like 6 hours of that. I was like, oh.
Well, title's a good idea too.
Going through the Nevada desert at like just after sunrise. Oh,
you didn't have quilted seats, did you?
If I had quilted well-being seats, I would have been better off. Instead,
you would have had a driver had you had.
Yeah, that's true.
If I had Johnny Ives' money, I'd have flown home with the car in the plane.
Yes.
I don't. Mr. Connor, what's going on in your world?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And if you're independent-minded, check out my blog, carswithcords.net.
Thank you so much. Definitely check out Patrick's writing. And we always thank Patrick. He does all the news on our social media sites, on Twitter and on Facebook. So I appreciate his posting there, and even more appreciate his trolling me every once in a while. You've actually been kind of laying low, Patrick. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
No, I mean, not the coughing thing. I mean, not trolling me on social media.
Oh, yeah. There's I did just post one. I must have slipped past you.
I must have missed it. Wow. It happens. Mr. Coughlin, what's new and exciting in your world, sir?
Well, I wanted to get anyone that's currently watching this video to press that thumbs up button. Give us a like. It helps us out. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And of course, if you're on social media, you can find us there as well. Just look up What Drives Us on any of the media platforms, and we will be there, except for TikTok, because Russell has now shut down his dance channel.
You can still catch him on OnlyFans if you want to pay.
This is the second time this week somebody's made a joke about me having an OnlyFans page.
You made the joke last time, otherwise I wouldn't have brought it up.
No, that was Casey making the joke, not me. So just remember that.
I thought that Russell started it. I'm sorry, man.
You did just ask to get trolled.
Yeah, I did. You're right. You're absolutely right. And you're welcome, Bruce. Thank you for being part of that community. Let's last and certainly not least, Mr. Casey Green.
Yes. So Motoko and I, my daughter, we went with a friend to do a mod to my vehicle. So that video has been shot and copied into the computer, but we haven't touched it yet. And with her lovely made-up schedule, we haven't finished working on the last video. But it just needs to be shortened a little bit and be ready to go out there. But you can catch us every Sunday at 1:10 Eastern over at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREEN. If you like this, how would you like to do it for 7 hours? They're not supposed to be 7-hour shows, but the guests pop in and out, and the hosts pop in and out, and we've got something coming to kind of get that back to a more reasonable time frame. We'll see if it works this week.
You did a 7-hour show?
Yeah, I was like, man,
you are insane.
I was like, I wonder what the record limit is on this program. It's a little longer than 7.
I've already admitted that our early, like for the first 2 seasons, the first 2 years, What Drives Us was like a 2.5, 3-hour show. Yeah. Okay. That was way out of control. 7 hours? What are you, a telethon?
Felt that way.
I'll bet. No, dude, that takes some balls. Wow. Well, definitely do subscribe to Casey's channel. Check out his show. If he's going to be there for 7 hours, the least you can do is show up for 5 minutes. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
I thought you were going to say 5 hours.
No, just pop on through and hit the like button, and then go about your day. And if you're going to do something out of the house, just leave it running.
Hook him up. I mean, how hard is it? So you kill a few electrons, letting his show stream in your house. Maybe the dog or the cat will enjoy it. The baby, the birds, who knows? I want to also point out that I am doing the final editing on 2 things. A 30-minute long-ish travel log about a recent trip that I took, and the 10-minute or less review of the vehicle that we drove. That vehicle is the 2022 Toyota Sienna Hybrid. Yes, I drove a minivan 1,000 miles for no good reason. You can profit from my experience and learn all about it. Number 1, historic Highway 395, one of the most beautiful roads I have ever been on. It is amazing. Come and look at the pictures in the travelogue version, the long one. If you're just interested in the vehicle, you want to know what it's like to drive a 36 MPG minivan, I got the deets for you. Check us out on the YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, and we'll send you a little reminder when those reviews are up, probably in the next day or 2. So
there's also the talk that you and John B had regarding the EV6.
That's already up.
Right, but if they haven't seen it yet, they need to go watch
That's true. Yeah, that's true. In the EV6, and you know what's funny? Since then, I've seen 2 EV6s in the wild here, and I am here to tell you, I may hurt some feelings, but I am here to tell you, EV6 way cooler looking than the Ioniq 5. Way nicer looking.
And one more number.
and it's one number better. But I hear all this stuff in the auto media about from the people that I know and whatnot. Oh man, the Ioniq 5 is so cool. It's so retro fun and blah, 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 blah. Dude,
I wonder if they did that on purpose to kind of raise the Kia brand, because like Hyundai was here and Kia was here, like, because Kia was like shit, bottom of the barrel shit car. And now they're trying to make it a little bit better than Hyundai. And then they got the Genesis on top of that.
Yes. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. What I know of the Hyundai or of that megacorp, right? The umbrella that is Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia, is that allegedly it is set up, even though they're using some of the same platforms and parts and whatnot, it is set up so that the companies do operate independently and do compete with each other.
Right.
So would it surprise me if maybe somebody at Kia said, have you seen how ugly the Ioniq 5 is? Yeah, we're going to make the EV6 totally cool looking. And it is. Dare I suggest it looks kind of Porsche-y?
But I'm sure it shares like the whole skateboard and everything in the battery pack and all that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably a foregone conclusion. Yeah, I think that's safe. But anyway, I was shocked at how cute it was because I've seen the Ioniq 5 for a couple of months now. And literally just this week, I've seen 2 EV6s. And I was like, wow, the front lights are awful, but whatever. It's a little thing. As always, thanks to Michael Mannering for his amazing theme music that we get to use for free. Please visit him at manthing.com. Buy some music anywhere you buy music. Buy it from Michael Mannering, please. I want to thank Casey Green, Mark Coughlin, Patrick Connor, Paul Guzik. I also want to thank JT24, Bruce Nelson. Who else is in there? Derek Ludwig. That's all I'm seeing right now. I want to thank everyone in the chat room and the people that I mentioned by name for being there. I love the interaction. Thank you so much for kind of peppering us with question and keeping us honest. I appreciate that very much. Ready, Casey? Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.